Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. So we had a kind of crazy last few days in the crypto market overall. I will just be giving my thoughts on the overall market context and where I think that Bitcoin and altcoins will be going. I'm not sure how long this video will be. Usually I try to have them be like 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm not sure about this one because I honestly don't know. Yesterday I spent a large time trying to figure out where the market was headed, and I honestly came to pretty much zero conclusions. What are we seeing right now? This is BTC USD on the weekly. Overall, these closes are not bullish at all. There's high sell volume coming in as well. And when you see price stagnating with large volatile wicks in both directions, this is usually indicative of some sort of market top. I don't want to say that quite yet. I mean, overall, this just doesn't look very good on a weekly level. You can see that this kind of 60K area is really just a high supply zone. There's just a lot of sellers, and price cannot break above this level, across several weeks. Overall, I am thinking that on high time frames, this doesn't look very good. I mean, I don't really know how you can cut it otherwise. If you compare it to some of these other structures back in like 2019. This was kind of the last time you saw this type of price action where you're seeing volatile wicks in both directions and then eventually a breakdown from about 14 to 6 or 7 or so. Obviously, the 2017 top was much quicker because of how parabolic this move was. Generally, faster move up, the faster move down. Whereas if you see price grinding up like we saw in 2020, we had many consolidation areas overall, like many accumulation periods where price just kind of ranged for quite some time. When you see price doing stuff like this is a more sustainable move, whereas 2017 was just a fast blitz up and then very fast blitz down. 2019 was a little bit of a blend in the two of them. I mean, you saw this pretty big move from 3K all the way up to 13 or 14 because of this long accumulation period that we saw here. This is classic accumulation. You see fairly little volatility, small wicks in both directions. Big players are filling their bags, etc. That's again what happened in the summer of 2020, which is why we saw decentralized finance do so well. And as of right now, BTC USD has had some different consolidation periods all throughout 2020 and then early 2021. But here we are in April of 2021, and price is not looking super great on high time frame charts. I mean, these are not bullish closes. Seeing highly volatile wicks in both directions, again, that's usually indicative of a market top or at least one coming. But with that said, this structure is still bullish technically as of right now. There's still higher highs and higher lows across the board. I mean, you're just basically seeing these higher highs all the way across, and these are significant. These are easy to point out in terms of the highs. And in my opinion as well, these lows are also fairly clear to me because of the reaction. Like, I personally wouldn't count this area, this 55.8K area as a low myself. I mean, as Crypto Cred says, like, highs and lows are pretty easy to spot on the chart, and like, to me, these highs and lows are pretty significantly they're pretty significant in terms of the reactions that they gave. I mean, these are clear lows in my opinion. What would maintain the bullish market structure, in my opinion, is this current area holding and then forming a higher high. You would really want to see a higher low than this 50K area. This is kind of like the area of interest for me. If it creates a lower low, then structurally this is not looking very good. If it creates a lower low, something like this, and it starts closing on high time frame charts, and then you see this and it starts making a lower high, that's when it's really time to be very scared. Am I saying that this is going to go all the way down to like 20K or 30K? I mean, I don't think so. There's going to be support in the 40Ks, in my opinion. Like, it's quite possible that a large range is established for the next several months as BTC kind of gets ready for a Q4 or like late Q3 run. That's entirely possible. I don't personally think this is going to like 25K. You never say never with Bitcoin and crypto for that matter. Quite possible that this just establishes a range, like a large trading range between 45K to 60K. Entirely possible. If you look previously before, there were some large trading ranges that were established back in 2020. Now, contextually, these accumulation periods were not super large. They're not large ranges. Like, this was a 20% range. And that's part of the reason why I felt this wasn't ready to go down was you see these large wicks at tops more so than accumulation periods. Like, for instance, look back in 2019. Like, you're seeing large volatile wicks in both directions, like 30% on that wick, again, 30%. It's whipsawing both ways, 30% and like even more. This is more indicative of a market top when you see large volatile wicks. Whereas when you see an accumulation period like we saw in the early summer of 2020, you'll see more less volatile price action like that. Again, this is a little bit different context, but classic accumulation period in the beginning of 2019, late 2018, you can see just not much volatility here. So with that said, what am I trying to say here? This current price action that we're seeing there's a lot of whipsaw action going in both directions, and it's fairly scary. I'm not disregarding that. For me personally, the context is still bullish. However, I'm quick to change my stance if price starts closing below this 50K area on high time frame charts. At that point, I think that the market is just going to go lower. Mid 40Ks is kind of what I'm viewing in that case. If that does happen, then I believe that many altcoins will suffer quite a bit in the short term. Now, you could make the argument that back in January of 2021, Bitcoin kind of hit this consolidation period. It went down, but altcoins still went really high up. That's totally very valid and fair. However, this type of price action contextually before is still different than what we're seeing right now with this high volatility. I mean, price still did range, relatively speaking, over this last 2 months, but we're still seeing like lots of volatility and just overall unpredictable price action in the short term. Whereas in January, price had the big run up from 10K all the way up to like 40, and then it consolidated. Altcoins flourished during this time, and Q4 is generally like a good time when altcoins do well. Now, I did believe that altcoins will still do well here, but altcoins usually need Bitcoin to have some sort of decent environment in order for them to do well. So, either a ranging like kind of environment is always good. This is why decentralized finance did so well in 2020. Maybe it could slow grind down like we saw in January 2021. That's also completely, valid. If we start to see something like, fast moves down, like where we start to just search big drops in, big moves in both directions, that's not good. Usually altcoins will fail. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that as of right now, I'm still cautiously bullish on Bitcoin. I will admit it does not look great right now. I would like to see this area currently hold to create a higher low. That to me would be very solid to look at. We already lost the trend on the 4 hour. I mean, the 4 hour looks, like you could start denoting this as like a low on the 4 hour. This is a low, and then we already created a lower low, and maybe create a lower high. That's certainly a valid argument. I'm still cautiously bullish right now. So let's see. So another note too, I'm just going to go into this really briefly. I'm not going to super go into it. There were a ton of liquidations back in March 12th of 2020. Obviously, this is like one of the nastiest days in crypto period. Tons of liquidations. Liquidity just dried up everywhere, and price blitzed all the way down. But because of how much liquidity was captured at the bottom, price had this V-shaped reversal in March 12th. This is something that we don't really ever see in Bitcoin because it's like it's the largest cap coin, obviously, in crypto. It's not like some shit coin that only takes a little bit of money to move in reverse hard. Bitcoin, it's still not very liquid and still not very large compared to some of the other like big stuff in traditional finance, but for crypto, it's obviously the biggest. So big players generally have to have this type of accumulation bottom, like we saw in 2018 and 2019, in order to really start to move price. Whereas in March 12th, we saw this V-shaped reversal, and price just never broke these lows from the spike down. I will say that this type of price action is unusual, but many people are comparing it to what we saw a few days ago in this context here, when there were many more liquidations on this April 18th, April 17th kind of area. I don't remember what exact date it was. But comparatively speaking, I mean, March 12th was worse relative to the market size and everything. I mean, there's a lot more money now than there was a year ago. But people are basically saying that maybe this big spike down was kind of a mini March 12th event where there was a lot of liquidity captured, and this was the low. It's certainly an interesting argument, and something I thought about a lot the last few days. If you look back before, and I made this tweet as well on Twitter, if you look back below, for this initial rundown, you'll see that BTC has had some of these spikes before the last several days, not last several weeks, I'm sorry, where you'll see this big impulse move down, and price will find its temporary bottom, and then these lows will get ran. And that's something that I am looking at here. If that happens, then we're going to see these 50K lows ran. As you can see right here, big spike down, price kind of grinds up and then runs the lows, then goes up. Again, big spike down, price grinds up and then runs the lows, goes back up. And you can kind of see this overall, this price action continues to happen. Like, price goes down. I mean, you can use this wick as well. Goes up, runs the lows, and then goes back up. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that if price is like March 12th, 2020, then if there was like all this liquidity that just got captured, then I think we just saw the lows and we are going to keep grinding up. If it's more like how we saw in February 22nd, how we saw in like March 17th, how we saw in January 11th, 12th, then I expect that these lows here are going to get tested again. In which case, in the short term, altcoins are just really going to die off. So those are my thoughts on BTC. I'm still bullish right now. Still believe that a higher low has been formed. as of right now. Still a bullish market context as of right now. 50K is really the level to hold for me. So those are my thoughts on BTC. I believe that everything is going through BTC as well. Like, you're not going to see like Ethereum start pumping out of the blue. I mean, ETH is like outperforming Bitcoin, it looks like right now. But I don't think you're going to start to see Ethereum to start to pump really, really hard until BTC has kind of resolved itself. So let's briefly look here at the Bitcoin Dominance Chart. This is the inverse chart. We'll look at BTCD first. Bitcoin dominance is at a level that we haven't seen really since early 2019, and it's even going lower here since 2018. If you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is the amount of market share that Bitcoin has relative to the entire crypto market. So the higher that BTCD is, the worse it is for altcoins, generally speaking. So like the less market share for altcoins. If you really want alt season, then you're really looking for Bitcoin dominance to go down, which is what we saw. And Bitcoin dominance isn't really a great indicator anymore as it used to be, because there's so many altcoins flooded in the market, but it's still useful from a macro context. We are seeing this area as a support level for Bitcoin dominance. I mean, you can see all the way back in 2017, this level has been support for Bitcoin dominance across several different times. And this is a natural bounce area, which means that when Bitcoin dominance goes up, that means that altcoins usually go down in total market share value. Again, if you're looking for altcoins to really flourish, then you want Bitcoin dominance to keep going lower. I'm not really exactly sure what to think in regards to Bitcoin dominance. I mean, historically speaking, we do have the second run for altcoins, but we might have already had it. If you look at the inverse BTCD chart, which I'll pull up now, maybe we're just done. So here again is my inverse BTC dominance chart. This is the same chart that you just saw, except it's inverted, meaning when this chart goes up, altcoins flourish. When it goes down, altcoins die. Oh, yeah, relative to the market share. I won't go into explaining this just because I've explained this several times across other videos, but you'll see that altcoins generally have some sort of February to March pullback, which we kind of saw, although, as I said, Bitcoin dominance is not as important as of a indicator as it used to be from a chart perspective. And then it has its second run. So we might have just seen its second run, and maybe this is just it. Maybe altcoins are going to go all the way back down, and maybe they're just going to start heading lower. And again, with this chart, when the BTCD inverse chart is basically kind of altcoin dominance, when this starts going down, then altcoins should pull back quite a bit. I mean, if you look back in the summer of 2018, summer of 2019, and the fall of 2020, altcoins really pulled back huge. Entirely possible that this just retraces and this just goes down. I personally believe that, and I still thought that altcoins still had another leg up, but I'm prepared to be wrong, and this is really an area that I'm not sure about. The price action overall has been something that I have had a lot of conflicting thoughts over. I spent yesterday all day just looking at charts, looking at reversal patterns. I mean, there's a lot that's scary, in my opinion, right now. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it in any way. I was looking heavily at the band chart. Let's take a look if we can find it. Okay, so this is the band USDT chart. What are we seeing here? This was back in its all-time high level on the summer of 2020. Again, big move up, pull back, last exhaustion pump, massive retrace followed by that. Now, as I said, price is fractal, so you see the same price patterns across all types of time frames. This isn't the exact same thing. This is really a little bit different from, fall of 2020 all the way to current times, the Q1 of 2021, but big run up, consolidation, second run up, potential exhaustion pump here, and then now maybe it's quite possible that price just starts moving down. Again, contextually and market structure wise, these charts are slightly different, but there are a lot of similarities too. This is a chart that really gives me a lot of concerns because maybe it's just time to go for alts to just pull back, and in that case, then I'm just going to be selling my altcoins on the second pump probably if this pattern does play out. So I expect there to be some sort of support at like $12, and then it'll go back up to like 17, and then start heading lower. Sometimes it doesn't always give you this though. Like if you look back at this time period back in the fall of 2020, I mean this was the only retest that you really got. I mean you saw a very quick one from September 5th around here, around 1150, and then price kept going lower. But this is the area where I would target, for selling a lot of my bags here. And it's entirely possible. I personally think that I'm still hoping and still believing that altcoins will do well. I mean, you saw this kind of accumulation period, or what I thought was accumulation. Maybe it's just not accumulation. Again, price is fractal. So, you saw this period again back in the summer of 2020, where you saw this kind of accumulation period before a second run up. And maybe this is the same context. Maybe it's just going to go up for an exhaustion pump and then head lower. Now, I will say there's a little bit slight differences. I mean, you saw high sell volume before on this large, nasty wick. This was like the parabolic top. For here, there was high buy volume, followed by a nasty, nasty wick all the way down because of Bitcoin. Overall, I honestly, I don't really know. I can't lie to you guys. I can't say that, this is still going to go to the moon. Altcoins are going to pump. I kept believing that I thought they were. I thought altcoins were going to pump hard for this next run, but I'm entirely prepared to be wrong. If I am wrong, I will lose money, but hey, that's trading, and that's the macro and what have you. So overall, let's kind of see what happens. I think the next 24 to 48 hours and maybe even more will give us a lot more clarity in regards to what we should expect for altcoins. Briefly, let's just look quickly at the ETH BTC chart. I mean, this is again a good indicator for altcoins as well. Again, I won't explain the market cycles too much for you guys just because I've done it across many videos, but we're seeing Q4 pump to Q1, January to February, or February to March pullback, which we saw, and then we saw one last move up in the spring. Maybe this move up maybe this is it. Maybe we're done after this. I don't know. I personally thought that ETH was going to at least 0.055. I mean, market structure wise, it still looks better than it did back in 2018 and 2019. I mean, these were all bearish market structures. You saw lower highs followed by lower lows across the board, whereas now we saw this as a high around 038 or so, or 039, a higher low and a higher high, and then this was a higher low too around 033 or 03. So with that said, it's a different market structure context than we saw back in 2018 and 2019, where we saw lower highs and lower lows across the board. So that gave me hope for 055, and like chart wise, it still looks pretty good. But I will say that the last several years, this springtime pump has been a lower high than 2018 and 2019, and even 2020. The springtime pump was just a lower high. So again, maybe this is just a lower high being formed, and maybe price is just going to go lower. But I'm still holding out hope that this is a bullish market context structure, and this will go up higher. And if this does go higher, this ETH BTC chart, I expect altcoins to really do pretty well in that regard. So again, the next few days and the next week are really going to be telling, in my opinion. I still am bullish on this until shown otherwise. Bitcoin, we'll see what happens. I mean, again, if we start losing 50K, then like mid 40s and low 40s are probably going to be coming. And in that case, then I think we're just done for a little while. Altcoins are. So those are overall market thoughts. I know this is a really long video, so I probably lost a lot of you guys along the way, but this was just me explaining kind of this thought process that I had for the last day or so. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for the subscribes and likes and all that. Thanks.